I want to ask you a question, guys. Let me start with a question here. What do you think actually happens when a major publisher stock halts for almost a week? The earnings report disappears, and industry insiders start whispering the same buyer's name. Because that's exactly what's happening with Ubisoft as we speak, and the puzzle pieces are lining up way too clearly to ignore. Something is afoot at the Circle K, guys, and this is a rumor that won't die. Over the past few days, a new wave of insider reports, not leaks, reports, guys, legit insider reports have been pointing towards one scenario in this situation. Ubisoft, our favorite video game company that brought us Yasuke, the legendary Black Samurai, is already in the process of being acquired. And that's not a shocker. We all have already assumed it. It's most likely going to be by Tencent, which again, it's the world's worst kept secret in gaming at this point. But the wild part of this, the real wild part, we're talking, get on the floor, everybody do the dinosaur type of wild part. Tencent has been setting this up for years. I had a little bit of a theory that places like Saudi and China are purposely trying to get these Western companies for pennies on the dollar so they can come in and get their influence even bigger by acquiring them, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, Tencent has been setting this up for years, guys. Slowly, quietly, methodically, exactly how they operate every time they buy a studio. It's the same formula, guys. This is how Tencent usually takes over a company. Their playbook is absolutely predictable if you've paid attention to them as a company long enough. They invest a small amount, they secure partnership around the most profitable IP, which in this case, they actually made a subsidiary with Ubisoft where Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, I believe, they were put away from actual main Ubisoft, which is over here on fire. They got all these IPs under their subsidiary protected from the tornado and disaster and dumpster fire that's Ubisoft at this moment. They get a seat at the table and they get to peek behind the curtain Wizard of Oz style. And if the numbers make sense, they're going to buy everything, that and all, right? So the situation with Tencent and Ubisoft is checking every box at this point. It's a no-brainer. Tencent's going to swoop in and get everything that Ubisoft is worth for a cheap price because they helped set it up. That's my theory. I've been running with it for quite some time. And like I said, they already have a partnership around Ubisoft's crown jewels, guys. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, other big franchises. That alone's a sign. But the real tell is what happened next, which we talked about it earlier this week. This weird company split that happened. It said that a new company was created in partnership with Tencent. It owns the rights to Ubisoft's biggest franchises. Meanwhile, the original Ubisoft parent company is now holding the less profitable titles. That's a weird restructuring that happened. And it just so happened this past week that they froze their stocks. They didn't reveal their earnings report. They delayed it, as a matter of fact. Something's not up. This type of action, I don't know if it's illegal or not, or if it's even ethical, but this restructuring where you're taking away IPs and you're putting them somewhere else, that's the kind of restructuring that happens right before a sale, right? So why hasn't Ubisoft been bought already? How come we're waiting for this official announcement? Why are we just left in this weird limbo? Well, because the founder, the CEO, Yves, how do you say his name? Guillemot, the CEO, he's fought tooth and nail to avoid selling Ubisoft for quite some time. Like, this is his baby. He's the founder. But now even insiders are saying the same thing now, that he's out of moves. He's lost the chess game at this point. Splitting assets, setting up satellite companies, carving out franchise. These aren't growth moves. These are prepare for the books. Prepare the books for acquisition types of moves, guys. Let's talk about their debt here, because a lot of people are wondering, why would anybody buy a company with over $2 billion in debt? I think that's the rumor, $2 billion in debt. Well, here's why: because Ubisoft's potential valuation is still listed at $30 billion. Okay? If you think that in scale, $2 billion in debt is basically a rounding error. I'm not like an accountant. I'm not good with papers and stuff. My math might be off, but a company like Tencent, a mega conglomerate, that's just a drop in the bag. If a company's valued at $30 billion and it's 2 billion in debt, again, it's a rounding error. Look at it this way: if you could buy a company with Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Watch Dogs, Rainbow Six, Division, and that's not even including like Avatar, Star Wars Outlaws, and get it all for penny on the dollar, you do it. You're rich already. You can afford that. You can make some moves with that. You're China. You're like one of the biggest influences in gaming right now. But I know some of you guys are like, "Oh, what does this matter? I don't care, Eric. I just want to play games. I'm a console cash, and I just if a game's fun, that's all I care about." Well, because when giant companies get bought out like this, massive things start to change in the gaming industry. Game direction is going to shift completely. For as woke and progressive of a company as Ubisoft is, you think China is going to put up with that crap anymore? Absolutely not. No. And then you're going to get monetization changes. They might not focus on microtransactions, or they might quadruple down. I'm not entirely familiar with how China does as far as like microtransactions goes with their games, but all the whole plan, the blueprint that most of these Ubisoft games have with battle passes and DLCs that you got to pay for, that might change for better or for worse. And then the creative teams above all are going to reorganize, which I think they need a refresh. Just get rid of all of them. Get rid of the writers, get rid of the devs. These guys have drug Ubisoft into a hole. I give it to China. Give it to China at this point, and we're gonna see studios getting merged, gutted, or just reborn. Like just fresh new people in there. Entire franchises might get reimagined or just canceled. I mean, Watch Dogs. I would love for Watch Dogs to get reimagined. I would love for Watch Dogs to get a clean, fresh slate. I enjoyed the first one immensely, and I think they screwed it up with the last two. And then player experiences as a result of this could change for years. Like again, Ubisoft could make some big changes. Even if they're simple, they all add up. So this isn't just a financial situation with Ubisoft. It could reshape how Ubisoft games feel and play going forward for many fucking years to come, guys. This is a big event. If they get bought, and the whole stock thing, the whole stock halt was the smoking gun. Okay, that was the moment everything clicked into place, guys. Their stock was halted for days. No updates, no earnings, nothing. That's not normal, guys. Companies don't halt stock trading because of, oops, the numbers are late. They halt stock when a deal is being finalized. First and foremost, that's probably the most likely outcome. A last minute deal or something, a major announcement is imminent. Obviously, no matter what's going to happen, there's going to be a major announcement here, or something significant is happening behind the scenes that might legally require, mum's the word, a little bit of silence. This is a weird situation, guys, but a halt this long likely means acquisition. So Tencent might be acquiring them very silent. I think all signs are pointing to it. At this point, I think there's easily like a 60 to 70% chance that Ubisoft is going to get acquired here within the next year. And if that doesn't happen, I see bankruptcy in their favor. The most likely buyer is going to be Tencent. After that, maybe Amazon. I can see Netflix getting into that realm. I don't think Embracer's going to buy them. I don't think Sony will buy them. IPs, if they decide to sell the IP separately, I could see Assassin's Creed and Far Cry being something that Xbox or Sony might want to look in. But everything that's happening right now is exactly what a company looks like right before a buyout. It's just now the worst kept secret is not being revealed yet. And we're just in this weird limbo. But Tencent seems like the most likely destination. Why would they want Ubisoft? Well, let's be real. Ubisoft is a mess. You had all the DEI and the backlash and pushback from that. You have internal scandals that have been coming out. We've been covering all of this for the last year. Open world fatigue. The tried and true Ubisoft formula is just absolutely tiring. They're in financial decline. They're $2 billion in debt. They got several failing franchise, IPs, but to Tencent, that's not a problem. That they literally could buy this for a bargain, like I said. And my theory is companies like Tencent and the Saudi Arabia company that just acquired EA, they're low key in the background wanting these companies to fail. They might even be influencing them somehow. So if I'm China, if I'm Tencent, and a company's offering me Assassin's Creed on a platter for cheap, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna fucking buy it. A 30 billion valuation company and getting it for pennies on the dollar. They can literally walk in, pay off the debt, acquire every IP, and relaunch Ubisoft as a fixed studio with a new creative direction. And that alone would give enough publicity, enough press, enough virality that the next game they bring out is going to do good. And this is exactly how big tech acquires weekend giants. You see it all the time, and big tech. You see it all the time, but here's my honest take, guys. They halted this. You don't halt for nearly a week and delay earnings and nothing's coming. Something massive is coming. I don't think they could come back online. That you can't just be like, "Oh, hey, we're cool," without making a huge announcement. If they come back, they pretend everything's fine, they're lying to us. And I don't think this is a coincidence. I think a deal is already in motion. It might even be finished as we speak, but lawyers are hammering out the details. Either way, something big is happening. Uh, I said bankruptcy might be likely, but I don't think it is. I think if it was bankruptcy, they would have already announced it. But let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Do you think they are silently being acquired by Tencent? If you like this video, hit that like button. It helps get the video out to more people. And hit that sub. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. I can't do it without you. It means a lot if you guys hit that subscription button.